Lizzo is a pop artist who has recently blown the fuck up after a lot of buzz surrounding her recent singles. Her single last year, Boys, is a great track. Should have made my year-end list actually. What a great song that is. And also Juice, which came out at the start of 2019, which started to get some radio airplay and a bit of traction through the internet and stuff like that. So it's really cool to see someone who's so vibrant and colourful and bombastic as Lizzo, who's managing to get all this success. This is actually her third album, would you believe? But it does really feel like it's been set up as a debut album. It feels like this is the big, huge moment for Lizzo, and it just feels like it's all been set up as like the introduction to Lizzo. But perhaps for a lot of people this will be the introduction to this artist. On this album she blends a lot of genres together, a bit of funk, quite a lot of soul actually, a lot of soulful singing across this album, some hip-hop, a lot of R&B too. The one thing I think I like about this album way more than anything else, and I think Lizzo in general, way more so than any other pop artist you can name that's in the game right now. Obviously Lizzo isn't on that level, but perhaps one day she will be. But the thing that I like the most is her positivity. She's oozing with this attitude that I really like. She's always putting forward a positive message in her music and just in her general demeanor as well, the way she presents herself on social media and that kind of thing. And I think that's one thing that's very important to pop music these days, especially in the internet era. I would say it's always been the same, but I think now more than ever, this relatable, positive character that people find more in than just the music. And Lizzo really friggin' has it all. But the one thing that I think this album suffers from, which really is a huge letdown because I was really highly anticipating this album, is the mixing and the production. So many of these songs are overblown as hell. Like, the production is just so ridiculously over the top. It's loud. The mixing is way too loud on some of these tracks. Her voice is yelpy at times. She's essentially just shouting as opposed to actually controlling her voice, which is one thing she didn't do on some of her previous songs, like leading up to this album, and on some of her biggest hits yet. Take a track like Juice, where everything's just so reined in, you know, the beat is funky, it's very fluid, she's singing over this track really well, it gets to the chorus, it doesn't explode once it hits the chorus, it stays in this really tightly knit position that just keeps the song feeling really groovy, and there's nothing really about the track I could name that's a single flaw, because it's just the perfect pop song. Compare this to a song like Cry Baby, and from the get-go, this friggin' song is just in your face. Like, it is just so loud. She's not really singing, she's kind of just going, it's just really off-putting to my ears. And I don't know if I'm just getting old or something, but man, I had to turn the volume down so many times playing through this album and with my headphones on. Like, seriously, it really did get way too in your face at points. The mixers and the producers just cannot turn the volume up as soon as the chorus hits on Heaven Help Me and then pass it off as a banger. That's not really how it works. You could definitely make the claim that this certainly matches Lizzo's excitable and flamboyant and bombastic attitude way more than it doesn't, but I just think occasionally it gets really on my nerves. However, I do feel like it works really well in the opening track, Cause I Love You. I think it's got this kind of old school soulful edge to it that I think really works in her favour. Instrumental here is very grandiose. Her vocals are actually reined in quite well too. It's not just like shouting or over the top singing. I do feel like she's delivering this track with so much passion. Soulmate too, I think the lyrical theme of this track is really fantastic actually. I think the whole idea of, you know, looking in the mirror and seeing yourself and being like, damn, she the one. It's so funny to me. But it also has a really good message here as well, as I was saying before. Her messages and her positivity is something I really like about her. The idea of, yes, actually, I'm my own soulmate is something I really, really get on board with too. Because she gets so many people out there, man, who are like desperate to put themselves in a relationship, when it's like, no, don't force yourself into it. You're actually, you know, your own person. You don't need other people to, like, you know, make you who you are, shape you who you are. Like, yes, you do need people to shape you, but you don't need like romantic love to define you, you know what I mean? That's not what you need to define you. You don't need it. However, that message does get lost somewhere on the track Tempo for me, which is easily the worst song here. Mostly for the way it sounds. I just feel like it sounds like some 2015 like mainstream hip hop track that just was trash from the get-go, and people forgot like months later because it just never sounded good, like some Kid Ink or Tiger track. But the main issue for me on this track is that line where she's talking like skinny hoes. This song isn't for skinny hoes. It's just really doesn't sit well with me, honestly. I feel like it's just not a good way to kind of like promote your own positivity while bashing others or putting people down. I think that's a really, really weak way of doing it, and it's just in poor taste, you know? It's literally all about that base levels of body positivity. Like, it's okay to be whatever size you want, but you're skinny? You're skinny? Oh, no, you can't do it. No, no. Be positive, spread it, but by taking others down, you're just showing your own insecurity, honestly. That's just the way it is. I do really like the song, exactly how I feel with Gucci Mane. I feel like Gucci Mane and Lizzo are actually a really good match. Like, I think their styles somehow meld well together, because Gucci Mane can be quite monotone on a lot of his own songs, but I think over this beat he sounds really good. I just think it was a nice little collaboration here that really worked well. Like a Girl is another track I really like here too. It's another example of where as soon as the chorus comes in though, the song implodes on itself, but I do actually really like the chorus here. I think it's really catchy, and her ad-libs in the background with the "Let it go, let it go." I do really like on this track as well where she's referencing her idols and showing that, you know, they were able to do it, and it's helped me believe that I can do it as well. And of course she has become successful too, so I do really like the way she's just kind of paying an homage to the people that showed her that she can become what she wants to just by trying hard and pushing yourself. And the way she references Serena Williams as Serena Willy, it got a giggle out of me, man. I am a child sometimes, and that shit was funny. Yeah, I think overall this is actually a good album. It definitely isn't quite as good as I hoped it'd be. I think overall it's just ended up being solid because of the production at times, and that one song that I mentioned that I really don't like. I do feel like the closing track here is a little weak too. I feel as though it's trying to be this like sexy D'Angelo type R&B jam, which I think she could absolutely pull off, but I just think in this specific instance it didn't quite work out, especially considering it's so out of place on the album too, with everything being so explosive and huge and larger than life. I just would have thought she would end the album with a song like that too. But I think in the pop music landscape right now, there's definitely a place for Lizzo, and she is absolutely a force to be reckoned with, because honestly I feel as though we're going to see a name brought up way more than we used to in the near future. I think she's going to make way more features, way more collaborations. I could definitely see her being like, you know, a good guest feature on a hip hop track, or even just random pop songs every so often. I think there's definitely a future for her, and I do actually think by the time we get to her next album, it's probably going to be even better than this. And Juice is still one of the best songs of the year, and it's going to continue to be one of the best songs of the year by the time we hit December, I guarantee. But those negatives that I have brought up quite frequently throughout the review have knocked this down to like a 6.5 out of 10 for me, but I still think it's a good album overall. Would highly recommend you checking this out if you haven't already. I feel as though her fan base is going to grow and grow even further. I definitely would like to hear your thoughts on this too, if you have heard it, if you disagree with me. If you agree with me, let me know. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Goodbye.